Welcome back to Makeup and Motorsports, your place for hot takes about hot laughs while serving hot looks. I am very excited. We've officially started the Formula One 2025 season. We will be getting back to our team series during the various breaks throughout the season, but yesterday was the Australian Grand Prix. So we are going to be doing a Aussie Green Commonwealth Star, and since McLaren won, McLaren Lando inspired look, while I give you my 14 hot takes about the Australian Grand Prix. But first things first, time to do our formation lap. So, as I said, it was the Australian Grand Prix. It was a wild way to start the 2025 Formula One season. So I decided, let's do, in honor of the 14 drivers that actually finished the race, 14 things that happened at the Australian Grand Prix. Because we're doing this really fun green floating cut crease, like Commonwealth eye look. I'm just priming my eyes with a little bit of Ballerina Girl primer. For the entire eye look, these two palettes, Blend Bunny, Surge and Blend's best palettes. Literally every Formula One team has a color in here, which I love. And this is great for like driver colors, like that neon green and yellow. Like, you can't tell me those aren't Lando colors. So first things first, rain, go away. With insanely rainy conditions that not only canceled the F2 race, but varied from like really heavy to just a little bit of a sprinkle, and I promise it's not sweat. It just caused so much chaos, and it also made me realize why I do really love a rain race. So second thing, with this being the Melbourne Grand Prix, this was two drivers' home Grand Prix, Jack Doohan from Alpine and Oscar Piastri. I have really started to grow a soft spot for Oscar. His driving style has become one of my favorites. I love his personality. Like, he's a little bit deadpan, kind of like Max is, which I love, but there's just a sweetness to him that just makes me so happy. Also, his mom is iconic on X, and his sister is so much fun to watch on TikTok. And I had such big hopes for Oscar for this race because he's a fantastic driver and he was so close to finishing on pole, and then Lando took it away. And he was doing so good in the race. He was going back and forth with Max for second, third, and he was getting close to being able to possibly push for first. We don't know what that would happen. And then because of the rain, he spun out so hard that everyone thought he was down and out. But because that man spent so much time learning how to drive a tractor this past summer, he was able to back up that McLaren and get back in the race and finish in the points. So hats off to you, Oscar Piastri, for putting in the can-do attitude so much. Love that. Okay, I'm also just gonna quickly reset my eyeshadow, just using the shade Truth and First Kiss underneath, so I can get that nice soft little blend. Yeah. To do the Commonwealth Star that I want to do for this look, I am going to take the Star of David Sugar Mark from my brand designer Co, and I'm going to use a white water activated eyeliner. You can use whatever brand you like. Obviously, I own a cosmetic brand and we make a water activated eyeliner, so I'm going to use mine. The white that I'm using is the white from our Legit palette. I'm going to take the stamp and I'm going to kind of put it in the outer corner and boom. And then you just gotta make sure it's not too wet. Third, if we're talking about the rain and we're talking about water activated eyeliner, it's only appropriate to talk about the fact that the water literally washed away so many rookies. Pretty much every single rookie on the grid did not finish this race because they crashed due to the rain. Not only did the rookies crash, the ultimate rookie Fernando Alonso crashed, and Carlos Sainz, which, like, that sucks. Also Liam Lawson did, but we'll talk about him later. And it breaks my heart because hometown race for Jack and he didn't finish, and started the season, and it's not the greatest way to start a season. if we're gonna talk about rookies getting washed away, I have to talk about Isaac Hajar. So Isaac Hajar is a driver for Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, has won my heart over the summer, and specifically with that Passenger Princess video, which made me laugh so hard. That got a little messed up. That got messed up, but I'll clean it up. But it broke my heart, the fact that he crashed. And it was his first race. You could tell he was so excited. He wanted to do so well. His whole family was there. And he didn't even get to really start the race. That one is better than that one. And I don't want to redo it, but I think I'm going to have to. Just like when you know, DNF, there's always another chance. Not always another race, so another chance to fix this. If we're gonna talk about rookies getting washed away, we're gonna talk about Isaac Hajar and Anthony Hamilton, Lewis's dad, to crash on your first race before the race even starts because of rain, and to get comforted by your hero's dad on your way back to hospitality. It was one of those moments that really did make me love Formula One, and I thought it was truly a special, special moment, and I loved it. It broke my heart. There were not just waterworks on the track, there were waterworks on my face. I was crying. So, all right, let's try this again. Boom, yes, got it. Look at that. Commonwealth Star, Aussie Green look already. Oh, we're here for it. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Kimi Antonelli, the wonder kid of Mercedes, not only proving that there is a reason Toto Wolff has been scouting him for a very, very long time, but to have that battle with Alex Albon for P5, P4, for them to initially him finishing in P4, but actually having P5 due to a penalty, and then the FIA overturning it, and him finishing P4, I think he started at P16. That's a kid to watch. Do we have a Max Verstappen mini basically in the midst of Mercedes right now? I don't know. There is much to be seen with the season. It was only the first race, but I'm very excited to see it. Next, we're gonna say it. There are probably going to be discussions over at Red Bull as to did they make the choice of Liam Lawson over Yuki Tsunoda correctly, or are there going to be some mid-season swaps potentially between the two Red Bull teams? And what does that look like and what does that mean? I will be very, very surprised if that happens, but I do think there's a curse with that second Red Bull seat. We've seen it before. Will it continue? Is that car a mess and only Max can drive it? Or is there something else there? A little bit of cream blush. This is the Cloud Paint in Dawn from Glossier. I don't know why, like, this orange screams Oscar to me versus screaming like papaya or any other person. I don't know why I just did that, but I did. Let's tone that down just a little bit. Okay. Next, we're gonna shout him out, because whenever I can celebrate Nico Hülkenberg, I am going to. Because what do you mean he got a stake not only into the points, but that man in one race got staked more points than they got the entire last season? What? Never count out Nico. Never count out Nico. What's wild about Nico finishing that high up in the points is that Ferrari doesn't have as many points as stake. Let that sink in. After technical difficulties that were almost as bad as the Ferrari radios, we're going to talk about them. Lewis and his engineer, they're going to be working out their kinks. It will be interesting to see where their dynamic is, because he was with Bono for so many years, so that's one side of the Ferrari garage. Then you have Charles Leclerc, because the two boys in red were getting different rain calls, and then Charles decides he is going to be SAS Master General. Let's add that to the words of wisdom. Might need to go into the Formula One Radio Hall of Fame. Now we're gonna add in the papaya and the Lando elements of this. So we're gonna go to my very well loved, as you can see, double dipped Hydro Liner palette. I'm gonna use the two oranges from the double dipped Hydro Liner palette, and we're gonna do a little bit of like an orange wing moment. We kind of did like papaya with the blush, but I feel like that's not enough. So we're gonna do a little bit of a papaya wing. And I've mixed the two oranges together to get a really pretty papaya color. So while he did not win the race, I think this race shows that Max Verstappen truly is one of the greatest. He really is. I mean, he showed us in Brazil last year that a wet race is not a problem for him, and he proved it again in this race. And I don't know if that Red Bull is just an awful car or if the second driver is the problem, but you gotta give Max where credit is due. You gotta give him credit where credit is due. Were there some crappy strategy calls with that team? Possibly. But at this rate, him and Lando are going to give us one of the greatest World Driver Championship fights this year. If we're gonna talk about people to shout out, we gotta shout out Alex Albon. To see a Williams get P5, which I think is their best finish in 10 years. What? And if Carlos hadn't DNF'd, I truly think Williams is going to be a massive contender. And that makes me very, very excited. And I think people also forget that Alex was a Red Bull driver. Like, he truly has been putting in the work at Williams to prove that he is meant to be in the sport, and he will be in the sport for a while. And I also love the fact that Carlos was doing strategy for Alex once he DNF'd, and he was like running back and forth between the garage and the pit wall to like communicate things. It shows how smart that Williams team is. And it makes me really excited to see what the two of them are gonna be able to do. So I'm using that like Lando lime color as a moment on the lower lash line. Speaking of Carlos Sainz, I truly think that Australia is now the new Monza curse. Carlos, Charles, and Max, the three previous winners, Carlos, Max, Charles, the year before they won the Australian Grand Prix, DNF'd. So all I'm saying is with that information, I'm going Oscar Piastri 2026 Melbourne Grand Prix winner. I'm putting it out there. I'm putting that out there right now. The 12th thing about the Australian Grand Prix that like stood out to me is actually something that has been standing out for a while, and that is the glazing of Sky Sports towards British drivers and basically making the entire broadcast only talk about them when there are so many other drivers. It will be my 13th reason. If I had my way, the panel of people I would have commentating on any given Formula One race would be Ruth Boscombe. It would be Jenson Button, Martin and Alex Brundle, because they are good, even though they do show British bias. And then for shits and giggles, give me Kimi Räikkönen. I want some deadpan in there. I need a deadpan former driver to give commentary. Nico's good at it, but give me Kimi Räikkönen. The 13th thing about the Australian Grand Prix that makes me really happy is that with Esteban Ocon, we have our first ever full-time female engineer, Laura Muller. I want to give her all the props. I want to give her all the love. I want everybody to go support her. And yes, it's a Haas. It doesn't matter. She is breaking barriers just by being there, and it makes me so happy. So thank you, Laura, from female motorsports fans worldwide. The last thing I want to talk about is how fun does the Melbourne Grand Prix look? I swear, y'all down there have the best time. The fact that they give you those giant heads, which are so funny. I think I saw that there was like a tattoo shop, and it looked so much fun. There were fans who were giving me so much life. The girls who were dressed as, who was it? Luigi and Guido from Cars with the Ferraris. That made my day. The girl who drew all of the drivers as Sunny Angels and was trading with admin for swag. I love you. I am not a Sunny Angels collector, but those things were so stinking cute. And keep going, keep going. I love seeing fan stuff like that. Maybe that's the Swiftie in me, but it was just, makes me want to go to the Melbourne Grand Prix. So that'll be on my 2030 like vision board. Finish off this look, we're going in with some green mascara. Then we're gonna pop some It's a 10 from Colourpop, the Super Shock Shadow, which is like their silver. Pop that in the inner corner. And then it feels appropriate to do like a wet look lip. So this is the NYX Liquid IV. So it feels appropriate because it was a wet look to do liquid lip. So this was the NYX Lip IV Hydrating Gloss Serum in Bubblegum Burst. Yeah, that's a vibe. So this is the face glue setting spray from NYX. So there you guys have it. There is the Australian Grand Prix look. It is a Commonwealth Star Papaya mashup, if you will. As always, you guys know where to find me on social media. There'll be all that information in the description bar below, as well as a list of all products that were used. Stay tuned for next week. We will be doing a look inspired by the Chinese Grand Prix, and it's the first sprint weekend of the Formula One season, so I'm very excited for that. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hit follow all over social media, and I'll see you guys next time. Race on.